Hello and welcome to this video of visualization of classified data in NoSQL databases. The first thing we need are the following Eclipse projects: the NoSQL schema and also the NoSQL data visualization, edit and editor projects. All of them may be found on the GitHub repository. Once we have all the projects in our Eclipse application, we may find meta models in the meta model folder, NoSQL schema on one hand, and on the other hand, the NoSQL data differences meta model. Now we may find on the examples folder several NoSQL schema models as an example, for example books, with several versions: publisher, journal, book, author, several versions for each entity, and several attributes, also references, aggregations, etc. We will also need some JSON files according to these models, which we will try to classify later on. Here we have some instances of books, with several attributes: title, year. So now we might find a main method which will perform the transformation from NoSQL schema to a differences model and then generate some code. Now on the differences folder we may find a version differences model, which for each version will create an object with has filled and has not filled members describing this version. For example, book 1 has a field year of type int, and book 2 does not have a field called year of type int. That way we can differentiate book 1 from book 2, for example. Same thing with journal and publisher. Now on the code folder we may find some generated code in JavaScript with all these methods used to identify a version. These methods receive an object as a parameter, and they will check for each has filled and has not filled member, and then if all the conditions are met, the receiving object, the parameter, is of the version given, and then we will return a boolean value, true. But if some of these comparisons do not meet, then that object was not of that version and a false result is returned. Now there's also a NoSQL data index code generated with several examples: the JSON file we were talking about at the beginning of this video, and also an HTML file which will use some static code, D3.js, to show the result of the classification. Here we may see we have 7 instances of book 1, 6 instances of book 2, also 5 instances of publisher 3, 4 instances of publisher 1. Now we provide several representations for this extra data: a bars diagram, a donuts diagram, a bubbles diagram, which classifies all the JSON objects on that file in real time. So we may see, for example, in the donuts representation, that version 1 of publisher, it's about the 33% of all the publisher objects. And now in a tree diagram we may see for each entity and for each version how many instances did we find and which is the percentage it represents. And that's it. Thank you for watching.